How do you think your team is better prepared to handle South Carolina's athleticism and size than a year ago? You know, you're obviously a very slow start down in Columbia.
Well, I mean, you don't know if you're completely able to until you do. I think we're a little bit bigger than we were last year, I think, in some ways. And I think offensively, we dug ourselves in such a hole last year that it was very difficult for us to get anything accomplished. So that, more than anything, I think, was the biggest issue that we had. So, you know, they're a little bit different team. We're a little bit different team. So, you know, we'll kind of see how it goes.
How key?
Obviously, they're big, and obviously they're athletic.
How key is the matchup with Olivia and Aaliyah Boston?
Well, I mean, I think that's one of the matchups. You know, and I think Aaliyah Boston does a lot of things for them, both offensively and defensively. And Liv's got to do a lot for us, both offensively and defensively. But you know, their guards are really, really a big part of what makes them go. You know, and you know how quickly they get into transition and their ability to put the ball on the floor. You know, and when they go on these runs where they can make, you know, they can make shots. It makes for a lot to handle.
Doug?
Gino, just regarding your freshmen, you know, big game like this, obviously a little different with no fans in the stands, but just how do you kind of keep them composed and, you know, not trying to go too fast and get too amped up in a, you know, in a big game like this?
I don't know that you can. I mean, that's why you play these games, so that they can get acclimated to how these games go. You know, maybe the Arkansas game, and the you know, the Tennessee game, maybe gave them a sense of some of the things that we're going to see tomorrow. But I think you just have to play in these games, and the more times you play in them, the more you know, the more you get used to being in these environments.
Joe?
Yes, Gino, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were talking about all you had to do was practice. And now I'm wondering, you got enough practice in between the last game and this one to really feel like you got enough practice?
I know. We played, you know, we played Wednesday and Friday. We had off Saturday, and we practiced Sunday, play Monday, play Wednesday, play Friday. So there's not a lot of days now, but it's okay. You know, it is what it is. You know, we don't really change up that much that we do. We try to stay pretty consistent, but yeah, ideally, you know, you'd like to have a day off and 2 days of practice for games like this, but unfortunately that's just not in the cards. And I think the more games we play, the better rhythm we're going to get into, and it certainly seems that way in the last week or so.
Dan?
Gino, how much did Nika's foot injury at the start of the regular season kind of stunt her development? And then how has she improved to be able to go from someone who didn't play a single minute against Tennessee to becoming one of the more key pieces of the rotation the last few games?
Yeah, she was pretty disappointed about the foot issue, because it did keep her out for a long time. And Nika plays with a certain passion, and she plays hard, and she's a competitive kid and doesn't want to sit out. And leading up to the Tennessee game, we had some issues with Nika. Issues related to how she wants to play, and the things that she thinks are okay. And we didn't agree on those things. And now, obviously, she agrees with me, so she's playing more. And she's actually like you said, she's a very key, integral part of what we're doing right now. And that's one reason maybe why we are playing at a little bit higher level, because of what she brings at both ends of the floor.
Alexa.
Hey, Gino. We've talked a lot about how Paige specifically, you thought she learned from the Arkansas loss, and that kind of made her want to be more aggressive from the get-go instead of just waiting till she needed to be. Are there other ways that you've seen the team as a whole really, I guess, learn from that loss? Because I think if you look at the last kind of string of games, that you could argue that's probably the best the team has played all season, especially going back to, the Marquette game, which I know you were really pleased with.
Yeah, for sure. That Arkansas game, we were not in a good place, team-wide or individually, we were not. I think we had guys that were really struggling with their games. We were struggling to find a identity on the court. And I think that game showed us a lot of what was missing. When you can't underestimate this enough. You need a bunch of games, 2-3 games a week for a stretch of time to feel like you're in game mode. I don't care how much you practice. And we weren't, and we didn't know how to dig down deep and get stops. And then when we did and took the lead, we just allowed things to happen to us that, not being in those situations, we just didn't handle very well. And since then, I think there's been a different approach by certain individuals on the team, and there's been a different approach by the team as a whole. And it does show up in these games that we've played, and hopefully it'll continue to.
Dom.
Yeah, Gino. What kind of impact can it have, particularly short term, on your team to have freshmen get this type of experience at this point? I mean, I imagine within a couple of weeks, a few of these games, they're not going to be playing like freshmen anymore. What type of impact can that have to have freshmen get this type of battle-tested experience this early?
Yeah, we had hoped that this would happen back in November and then continue what happened in December and January. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. But there's, we only have until March 1st, and then the regular season's over. So I just talked to the freshmen about this, actually the whole team, that they've been here on the court now, September, October, November, December, January. They've been on the court now 5 months with a couple breaks here and there for whatever reason. So they shouldn't think of themselves as freshmen mentally, but unfortunately they haven't been in enough games to be considered anything other than that. And they have a lot of experience practicing, but they don't have a lot of experience playing games. So games like tomorrow night are huge for them, regardless. If we win and play great, it's a huge confidence builder for them, knowing that they can do that. If we play great and don't win, that's still something that they can build on. So the big games are coming up in March, and this is this is kind of a preview of what those games may be like.
Doug Feinberg.
Hey, Coach, good to see you.
Hey,
I got two for you. First off, who do you like tonight?
I like tonight. I got to go with the Kansas City Chiefs,
Okay.
because we have a personal rooting interest. The defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, is a good friend of ours from UConn.
Second question, that the NCAA obviously announced the other day that the whole tournament's be in the San Antonio area. I asked them if they were going to reward the top seeds potentially playing all their games at the Alamo Dome. I know you played there many years ago, and it's definitely a different environment with the backgrounds of being in a dome. Would that be something that you'd support potentially if you're the 1 or the 2 overall to play all your games there to sort of get used to that dome-ish atmosphere as opposed to having to go somewhere else, or does it not really matter?
I mean, I don't know. That's a long way away for who's seeded what. I think you just got to roll the dice and say wherever you got to play, that's where you got to play. From what I understand, the final 8 are in the Alamo Dome, correct?
Sweet 16 on is there.
Sweet 16 on. So, if you're fortunate enough to get there, then you're going to play enough games in the Alamo Dome to know what it feels like. But before that, I think, wherever you play, you play. It's not ideal. I mean, this is going to remind you of high school. I think you're in the hotel, you get on a bus, drive an hour, play, get back on a bus, drive an hour back to your hotel. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to stop at McDonald's or get some food on the way back or something. I don't know, like we did back in the old days. But nothing's going to be the same as it's been in the past. So wherever you play, you play. I'm sure they'll try to minimize the travel so that, not every team has to travel long distances more than necessary. But the Alamo Dome, yeah, I remember playing there. And I think that was the first dome game ever. I want to say, right? 2002. Yeah. It's the last time we didn't make it 3, I think, in a game. 2002. That team. The 2 lousy guards, Sue and Deedon, couldn't hit the side of the barn.
Michelle.
Yeah, Coach, you've already faced really the top guard trio in terms of scoring in the SEC with Arkansas. With South Carolina's guards, obviously very good guards too, maybe a little different, but with Henderson, Cook, Beal, the speed they have, the way they defend. Can you just talk about what it's like facing those guards and maybe what facing some of the other good guards you face this year does to help, prepare for that?
Yeah. Nika and Paige obviously have not been in this situation enough times. So this is a real difficult matchup for them. And Kristen, has been in this situation in the past. So she's going to have to really step up defensively, and E, as much as she can, given where she is health wise. So I think it's a huge challenge, just like the Arkansas guards were. And we're going to have to do better, obviously, than we did in the Arkansas game. We didn't do a very good job of defending them either off the dribble going to the basket or from the 3-point line. So we have to do a better job, at least one of those things tomorrow night if we want to have a chance to win. You know, and then you throw in the fact that they've got, you know, a terrific inside game. So this is probably the biggest test that our defense will face, you know, all season long up to this point.
And I was just wondering, you know, you and Dawn obviously have meant so much to USA basketball. And I just wonder if you could maybe speak to that, both, you know, the fact that you put in as much time as both of you have being national team coaches while you're coaching your own team. And then, you know, what that commitment means to you personally. And what do you think it probably means to her to do that?
It might be a little bit different experiences. Mine, you know, the 10 years that I was involved as a coach, you know, because you start in, you know, 2008, and you know, you go all the way to 16, with world championships in between, and two Olympic games, and all the training camps and all the trips overseas to either play or scout or whatever the case may be. It's an awful lot of time, and it's an incredible commitment that you're asked to make. Dawn's may be a little bit different in that her commitment was even more so because she was a player for so long. So she's given a lot to the program, from, you know, the 4 Olympics that she played in, to, you know, the assistant, you know, the time she spent as an assistant Olympic coach, the time that she has spent up to this point as the Olympic coach, times coaching other national teams. It's a lot of time away from, you know, from home. It's a lot of time away from your own team. And it doesn't seem like a lot while you're doing it, Michelle. You know, it doesn't seem like, you know, this, we're doing this for a week. Yeah, that sounds easy. And then, you know, yeah, it's 4 days. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Hey, we're going to Europe for, you know, 5 days. We're going to play. And it doesn't seem like a lot. And then you look back and you add it all up, and it is an incredible, you know, commitment of time and energy and brain space and everything that goes into it. So it's tough enough to do that job as it is, but when you're also trying to coach your own college team, it's quite a task.
Thank you.
Charlotte?
You know, just kind of wanted to follow up on the inside game. You've mentioned obviously Nika and Paige for the backcourt, but what you hope to see from Aaliyah in this first big test?
Well, I don't think it's just, you know, one person. You know, Aaliyah's going to have to, you know, kind of keep our offense flowing. You know, we use her a lot to facilitate in our offense, and I think she's done a great job of that. One of her best games was probably the other night with Marquette. You know, she's getting more and more comfortable shooting the ball, facing up, you know, on the perimeter. And, you know, Liv's got to stay out of foul trouble, because we're certainly going to need her, and provide some of that experience that we need, because Liv and some of the other guys don't have it. I mean, Aaliyah and some of the other guys don't have it. So it's a lot. It's a lot for Liv, but, you know, she's ready for it. I think this is a good time for her. You know, I think she's in a pretty good place right now. Her game is in a really good place at this point.
Dan Connolly?
You know, how much time, just using Olivia and against Aaliyah Boston as an example, how much time do you and the coaches spend working with players on preparation for specific matchups before games like this, like breaking down like Aaliyah Boston's game and working on those type of things leading up to this?
you have to be careful. Obviously, you have to spend time going over it. You have to spend time how we're going to defend, how we're going to try to attack. What do we think is going to work? What do we think works for them? But at the same time, you're not going to change much of what you do. You don't go into any particular game and say, we're going to do everything different this game. We're going to still play the way we've played and, let the chips fall where they may. Aaliyah Boston's a really good player and Liv's a good player. And hopefully between Aaliyah Edwards and Liv, we've got, two kids that hopefully can help us hold our own in there.
Alexa?
Gino, do you have any update on Aubrey, if she's been practicing, if you expect her to play tomorrow? I guess you said Aaliyah is okay. You made it sound like she's fine after what happened on Friday. And then is Avina dealing with anything? You kind of mentioned her health. Is that just like the nagging knee stuff from before?
Yeah, they're all banged up a little bit. Paige is still struggling with the ankle that she hurt in the Tennessee game. Nika's ankle is not 100%. E's knees are not 100%. Aubrey took a shot in the knee. Somebody, I forget who it was, and she said she felt better at Marquette, but I didn't want to rush it back. So there's a little bit of everything, and then Kristen had a little bit of a sprained ankle, so she missed the St. John's game. So there's been a lot of nagging things. They're still there. They're not going away. But this time of the year, that's pretty much everybody. Everybody in college basketball is probably, lamenting about the same things.
Vicky?
Hey, Gino, I was wondering, you complimented Liv a lot the other night against Marquette. What did you like the best about the way she played that game? Was it just her doing a little bit of everything, defensively, passing? What did you like the best about the way she played Friday?
I thought that was a pretty good description. I liked everything. She did a little bit of everything. She made good decisions with the ball, and after an initial spurt, I thought her rebounding and her defense were great. So between the defense she played, the rebounding part of it, and the decision-making with the ball in her hands and her 7 assists, I thought it was one of her best games, of the season.
Olivia, it's Carl Adamek, the Journal Inquirer. The game in Marquette, Gino took you out in the first quarter. I think it followed that sequence. Marquette had a few offensive rebounds. He put you back in a couple minutes later, and then after the game, he raved how well you played at Marquette. I just wondered if there was anything you went through your mind in that couple minutes, if it was just, a natural, time to take a little break. And if not, how did you like the way you responded?
I think during that game, he really emphasized, not just him, but the whole coaching staff, about just being tough and, getting to the boards, getting rebounds. And so I think that was the main priority, not only for me, but for all of us coming out, because they did start out strong and we had kind of struggled there for a minute. So I think kind of just when he subbed me out, kind of regaining a focus on that and just trying to take that definitely more seriously coming out, not only helped me, I think, but the rest of my teammates too.
Thank you.
Alexa?
Hi guys, both of you or either of you could answer this, but how do you think the team as a whole has responded after the Arkansas loss? It looks like, especially going back to the Marquette game, that was maybe the best game you guys have played all season on both ends of the floor. Do you feel like you guys are finally getting the momentum, doing the things that coach has been asking you to do to kind of be in a good place going into tomorrow's game?
Yeah, I think our offense, first of all, is more cohesive. And then in the Marquette game, I think we were able to show, we can definitely reach the defensive goals that we've been trying to put in place. So just being tougher, more aggressive, getting the steals, getting tips and blocks and things like that. And so I think that's pretty evident in the Marquette game.
Yeah, I agree. I think just being more disciplined as a team, holding each other accountable more, because we're on the same goal and we want to be successful moving forward. So that was really our mindset.
Charlotte.
Hey guys, to kind of follow up on that, Coach called this probably the toughest defensive challenge you guys are going to face all season. Are you approaching it a little bit differently at all, or are you kind of just trying to carry over that Marquette mindset that you both had touched on?
I think carry on that Marquette mindset, but also ramp it up another notch, because they're definitely going to be a tougher team, or one of the toughest teams that we face this season. So definitely having to go in with that mindset, but know that it's going to be a battle, and so we're definitely going to have to rise to that occasion and just start off like that and bring it from the start.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely coming up the same energy from the start and just playing every possession and winning every possession, because we're going to need those. And as Liz said, it's going to be a battle the whole game. So
Thanks, Liv. Doug.
Hey, Olivia. Just going back to last year's matchup, what do you remember from that? And kind of going up against Leah Boston, do you take anything from that? I know it was a long time ago, but I don't know if you've studied her game recently and kind of just how you expect to go up against her, how you prepared to face her, anything in particular?
I think, from what I remember last year, I mean, she's a very physical player all around. So, and, she can take the outside shot, but she also, her main thing is just eating inside. So I remember last year having to guard that, but I think collectively as a team, it's just going to have to be basically an effort for a team effort. So I think last year we were able to, I think, guard her pretty well in terms of like a team effort, but definitely this year, because that's who they're going to be primarily looking for. And so I think it's just going to have to be a collective effort too.
What about yourself personally? I mean, how much, importance do you place on your shoulders? Obviously, it's a big game for you, Gino said. And
yeah, I definitely take this matchup pretty personal, especially from what happened last year. I don't take that lightly, especially, how the game unfolded. So definitely this year, I feel like it's more personal, but, at the same time, I have my teammates here, and we plan on going in this game together and just coming out doing the best we can.
Thanks.
Dan.
For both of you guys, how much time do you spend both on your own and with the coaches watching film of, just using Aaliyah Boston as an example? How much time do you spend watching film on her and kind of studying what she does in preparation for these type of games?
Not necessarily just on her, but South Carolina as a whole. I mean, her offense primarily runs through her, but just watching how they work together as a team, kind of their preferences, what they like to do. So knowing that she's a big component of their offense, and having to guard her, but also knowing that the other people can score, and what they tend to do, and how we're going to stop them best.
yeah, she's definitely a key player on that team for sure. A great player, but anybody can take over the game, and anybody could have a hot game that game. So just making sure that, as Liv said, defensively, making sure that we're packing in the paint and forcing them to alter their offense.
Roger.
Liv, you said you take this game personally. Do you feel like you're in the right personal mindset right now? Have you figured out through this year what your role has to be, and it's kind of that mindset is in place going into this game?
Yes, I think so. It's at the point of the season, we're in February now, where people are starting to understand their roles better, and things I think are clicking for our team. Like I said before, I think we're moving in a really, like our offense, defense is really cohesive. We're kind of moving as a unit now, definitely a lot better than even a month before. So I see the progress in our team, and also, I think we're just taking those strides to become better and better each game.
Alexa?
How much has there been a focus on just stopping South Carolina in transition? They really seem to thrive off that, to push the pace and to score when the defense isn't set. And you guys maybe haven't really, maybe with Arkansas that was or like a DePaul, that was more of a factor that you've had to deal with before. But how much have you guys been focusing on that and preparing for tomorrow?
I think a lot of the Big East teams also play a really fast-paced transition style of basketball. So, I think we've been having a better time with that this year. Definitely a lot better than the beginning of the year. So in terms of just getting back on defense, matching up quickly and stopping the ball. So I'm just excited to see how that's gonna play out tomorrow too.
Anything else for the players? Go ahead, Al.
Aaliyah, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Nothing major, no fracture or anything. I just got hit in the mouth pretty good, but I'm good, ready for tomorrow.
Good.
Just a quick, this is Charlotte from The Athletic, just a quick follow-up on that, Aaliyah. How are you, I guess, feeling into the rhythm of a college basketball season as a freshman now? Do you kind of feel like it's finally set in a little bit and banged up and going along as you expected, maybe?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like the stretch our team has really excelled, and we've all been on a good rhythm right now. So I feel more comfortable with the team, going to the tournament. It's a good groove that we're having right now, so feeling good.
Do you feel right now like you're ready for a challenge like this, Aaliyah, to play against a post player the caliber of Boston?
Yeah, I have mixed up against her from being on the national team. So I have been in that battle against her before. I think just for tomorrow, just coming with the same mindset and everything that we've been doing for scout and the concepts that we've been running offensively and defensively, just inputting that into the game so that we can be successful.